is our company. Envirofusion Worldwide Center Berhad is a HRD Corp approved training provider, offering series of sustainability-related trainings such as sustainability awareness training, sustainability reporting training for practitioners, and many more. Besides trainings, we are also providing HSE sustainability consultation services such as MSPO, RSPO, ISCC, Environmental Product Declaration or EPD, Second Party Reviewer, ESG cap analysis, and also including ISO certification consultation services. As we know now, the term's sustainability approach is very huge and expanding day to day. So we are from EnviroFusion. We would like to share with you some important tips and knowledge to help you to get a better idea and spark the understanding on the basis of the sustainability approach and waveform. Hopefully, I can cover this in 1 hour. And please contact us for any inquiry or training arrangement. Before we proceed further, let me start with the introduction of sustainability approach concept. It is very important for you to understand before we proceed further, where it was started, why ESG is created, how important ESG or sustainability is, and what is the sources of documents that you should know or want to make the improvement process. Before year 2015, the concept of CSR or corporate social responsibility is very popular among the big or giant companies around the world, including the nation. Some of the big players provide their own CSR report, but previously done as a voluntary basis and without a proper guidance from the government or authority. CSR is actually the basis of reference of the conceptual of ESG. As we can see here, under the CSR, it has 4 main responsibilities: environmental, ethical, economic, and philanthropy. Environmental responsibility refers to the organization's commitment to sustainability and environmentally friendly operations. Ethical responsibility is referred to a company's commitment to operate their business in an ethical manner that upholds human rights principles. While for economic responsibility, it refers to the practice of making financial decisions based on a commitment to improve. And lastly, under the philanthropy responsibility, it refers to a corporation's aims, goals, and objectives for actively bettering society as a whole. Why ESG is very important nowadays? Because some of us want to make or fulfill their stakeholder expectation in terms of investor, in terms of regulators, and some of it want to meet meeting the minimum requirement as posed by the environmental rating agencies. So, and how ESG is very important to public listed because the investor only rely on the sustainability reports, informations, data, and also anything that you has mentioned inside the report to assess your sustainability performance. And also when looking on the current or market demand going towards the sustainability products. And also to mitigate the climate emergency and other environmental factors. And looking on nowadays, social issues is also one of the topics that around the world are talking about when relating to ESG. By the definition, sustainability is meet the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs from ground land conditions. And under this sustainability, it has been it has produced the concept of three P's, which is people, planet, and also profit. And under the people, we are looking on the labor costs, how to manage the customer expectation, and to provide measurable value, and also treat everyone with respect. And for the planet, we try to lowering the carbon footprint, lowering the emission, to decrease pollution, managing the landfill properly, and also to eliminate use of conflict minerals. And under the profit parts, which are referring to some of it are referring to economy, we are talking about the high earning potential, talking about the positive cash flow, talking about the healthy profit margin, and also sustainable business model. Which one is better to use? Qualitative or quantitative target? Qualitative targets are defined as targets that describe desired states in the future, typically expressed with no accompanying quantitative yardstick provided. For example, the company could make the following commitment. We will improve our customer satisfaction score in the next reporting period, or we will boost our contribution to local communities in the future. So this is example of the qualitative target that we might see in some of these. And for the quantitative target are defined as targets that describe dire states in the future, expressed in quantitative or measurable terms. So this one is a better option to use. For example, the company commits to the targets of a 35% reduction of Scope 1 greenhouse gas emissions by 2035. This figure shows the alignment of CSR, ESG, and sustainability. CSR is normally used the qualitative approach, and it is a self-regulated. And CSR is previously focusing on society contribution, branding, and imaging, good image purposes. And for ESG, is actually more towards the quantitative approach and externally regulated, such as in Malaysia for public listed, regulated by Bank Negara. And also it's influence the investors' decision to check whether the company is doing good or managing well for environment, social, and the government. And for sustainability, it covers the qualitative and quantitative approach. And it is self-regulated and externally regulated. It depends on regulator requirement or your customer expectation or requirements. And it resilient business operation and growth over a long-term duration. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG, I believe but some of you or most of you see this figure before, which is the first one. First goal is no poverty. Second, zero hunger. Third, good health and well-being. Fourth, quality education. Five, gender equality. Six, clean water and sanitation. Seven, affordable and clean energy. Eight, decent work and economic growth. Nine, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10, reduce inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. And for 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace and justice, strong institution. And last, 17, partnership for the goals. Previously, 192 countries are the members, and now 106 and 93 countries become the member of the United Nations, which are required to present their achievement in managing the 17 United Nations Development Goals every 5 years using identified indicators. The latest report was in 2024. I believe that some of us has prepared their annual sustainability report using SDGs as the reference. What do you think? Is it the SDG progress is on track or not? Based on the 2024 SDG report, it was highlighted that nearly half the 17 targets are showing minimal or moderate progress, while over 1/3 are stalled or going into. What this means for us as industry or service provider. More stringent requirements will be introduced in upcoming years, and more guide or framework will be come out to speed up or close the gap. One of the most critical issues which around the world are talking is about the climate change. We cannot deny the importance of this topic. Kyoto Protocol has been discussed and actively adopted around the world since 1997. Owing to a complex ratification process, Kyoto Protocol has entered into force on 16 February 2005. Currently, there are 192 parties to the Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocols operationalize the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, by committing industrialized countries and economies in transition to limit and reduce greenhouse gases or GHG emission in accordance with agreed individual targets. The convention itself only asks those countries to adopt policies and measures on mitigation and to report critically. The Kyoto Protocol set binding emission reduction for only 37 industrialized countries and economies in transition and European Union. So for Kyoto Protocol, it just covers only 37 industrialized countries. And it has been extended to the Paris Agreement in 2015. So basically, the Paris Agreement is a legally binding internally treaty on climate change. It means that every company has the same target to meet the or mitigate the climate change. And it was adopted by 196 parties at the United Climate Change Conference of COP21 in Paris, France on 12 December 2015. And it entered into force on 4th November 2016. So basically, the targets is actually to hold the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue effort to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 Celsius above pre-industrial levels. COP, or some of us call it COP, is referring to the Conference of Parties. And when we are talking about the pre-industrial level, it's referring to 99. After the Paris Agreement was created in 2015, the Financial Stability Board, or FSB, has created the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, or TCFD, in 2015 to take the Paris Agreement 2 degrees Celsius target and operationalize it for the business world. Basically, TCFD has 4 pillars and become an important reference to follow after this. So TCFD has 4 pillars, which is governance, strategy, risk management, metric, and target. And for the governance, what the company should disclose is to disclose the organization's governance around climate-related risks and opportunities. And when it comes to the strategy, the company are required to disclose the actual and potential impacts of climate-related risks and opportunities on the organization's businesses, strategy, and financial planning, where such information is better. It means that with either through GRI, either after this, either through framework, through standard, or through ratings or raters, maturity assessment is very better. And for risk management, the company should disclose how the organization identifies, assess, and manage climate-related risks. And last, with metric and target, company should disclose the metrics and target used to assess and manage relevant climate-related risks and opportunities where such information is. So this is the example of the climate-related risk and opportunity. As we can see here, is referring because basically this figure is referring to the TCFD. For under the risk, it has been divided into 2, which is for transition, and second is under the physical risk. So under the transition risk, it can be divided into 4, which are referring to the policy and legal, technology, market, and reputation. And under the physical risk, it can be divided into 2, which is acute, such as extreme weather events, and for product risks, which are changing weather patterns and rising means temperature and sea level. And for the opportunities, some you can use either select either to use the resource efficiency, energy sources management, product and services market, and also the resilience. This is very important. This slide is very important for you to see and understand because this is from here, from 2023, October to 2023, TCFD has fulfilled its remit and disband. The FSP has asked the IFRS Foundation to take over the monitoring of the progress of companies' climate-related disclosure. After this, you can see a new requirement from Malaysian government on national sustainability framework, which relates to IFRS, either S1 or S2. Three main sources in sustainability approach. First one is standard, second is framework, third is ranking or raters. Example of the standard are GRI, FASB, FRAC, ISSB, WRF or Value Reporting Foundation, SASB, and also IASB. And under the framework, the example are TCFD, United Nations Global Compact, UNSDG, CDP, PRI, and many more. And under the reckons or returns, we have, maybe some of you have seen this, EcoVadis, ISS, which ratings, what else? FDSE or FTSE4Good in Malaysia, MSCI, and also CSR. So from this figure, which one is the first or main reference to use? Is it standard? Is it framework or reference? So for me, first document that you should refer or use or check is actually the framework, because the framework is a mandatory to use, because the framework might be changed from country to country. Such as Malaysia, we have, for public business, we have Bursa Malaysia Guide and listing requirements. So this is actually one of the framework that we have, because this framework will pair with the ratings, such as in Malaysia, we have FTSE4Good. So this is an example of the sustainability framework, which task force on climate-related financial disclosures of the TCFD. So TCFD is actually provide a framework for specialized disclosure of financial risk posed by climate change on the company to inform investors, lenders, and issuers. And also Internal Integrated Reporting Council, or IIRC, is referring to a framework that provides based on variety of capital, financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social, and natural, to explain to providers of financial capital how an organization create, preserve, or erodes value over time through both financial and non-financial information. So as we can see here, it covers the financial and non-financial and can relate to double materiality concept. So for climate disclosure standard board provide a framework for reporting environmental and climate change information in mainstream corporate reports, including annual report that is useful for investors, lenders, and traders. This figure shows the example of the sustainability standard, which we have here, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board or SASB, and also Global Reporting Initiative or GRI. SASB provide individual standards by industry that identify sustainability factors most likely to have material financial impact on company to inform investors. And for GRI, it provides standard that identify material sustainable effort of the company that have the most significant impact on the environment and society to inform a broad range of stakeholders. So that is a little bit about the concept, approach, why sustainability is very important, and how to use sustainability in our life. So for sustainability way forward, slowly, I believe you realize that there are so many key push factor for you to implement, to adapt, and also to prepare this. I'll take this one for various international regulations, such as they has come out with the EU Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism or CBAM, European Sustainability Reporting Standard or ESRS, EU Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive or CSRD, EU Deforestation Regulation, EUDR, EU Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive or CSDDD, US Inflation Reduction Act, US Anti-Slavery Law. And for Malaysia, perspective under the requirement for investor and financial institution, we have a Bursa Sustainability Reporting Directive, Bursa Bank Negara Malaysia requirement, financial institution or investor. And for your info that nowadays, most of the bank require sustainability report to be provided before they approve the loan, either for public listed or for SMEs. And also to meet the customer demand. And nowadays, I believe you heard about the sustainability, about the supplier audit, ESG supplier audit, okay, whether either through SEDEX Mita, through RBA, or through EcoVadis. And also the importance of the disclosure of life cycle analysis or LCA and environmental product declaration or and also to meet our government commitment for 17 sustainable development goals, which are nationally determined contributions, and our target are net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050 and reduction by 45% carbon intensity by 2030. So not only Malaysia, but all the countries around the world are going to shift toward the net zero, such as China scale up its nationally contribution. And also for Malaysia, we try to commit it to 45% reduction of greenhouse gas by 2030, as I mentioned before. Committed to become carbon neutral as early as 2050. And our neighbors such as Thailand set a target of achieving a 20 to 25% greenhouse gas emission reduction against business as usual by 20. But uh, this is actually a malicious journey toward the net zero. I pick up from ALCT guidebook number 2. So we are try our country are trying to go for carbon neutral. We are trying to implement the carbon pricing policy to implement the low carbon mobility between 2021 to 2030, which outline low carbon alternative and to increase renewable energy generation capacity to 51% by 2025 and 40% in 2050. To support that, our country tried to protect the environment and by implementing nature-based solutions for our greenhouse gas with planting up to 100 million trees, maintain at least 50% forest cover. So in paper, we heard about the some project has not been approved by our government because they want to explore or do deforestation. So this is a commitment from our company to maintain at least 50% forest cover. And also we try to adopt zero waste through the waste to energy program and improve recycling rate to 40% by 2025. EU taxonomy. EU taxonomy is one part of the European Union Sustainable Financial Finance Action Plan. So it is a classification tools for investors and companies to understand if their economic activities is environmental using the performance criteria such as climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, sustainable use and protection of water and marine resources, the transition to a circular economy, pollution prevention and control, the protection and restoration of biodiversity and CBAM or carbon border adjustment mechanism is partial of the EU taxonomy, which is focusing on the tax for greenhouse gas emissions. It will cap the emission limit. It will cap the emission limit for specific products. This can be done after finalizing the emission factor for specific industry products. So we has been approached by some of the organizations saying that for Malaysian market, they try to get feedback from all industry players to come out with a proper emission factor to finalize for and ready for carbon border adjustment. So what is LCA or life cycle assessment? LCA is a measuring method that is used to calculate the impact of a product or service for whole process on economy, environment, and also social. Have you seen this figure before? Have you seen the sustainability reporting card, third edition, toolkit for management approach, toolkit for governance, toolkit for mentality assessment, and toolkit for stakeholder engagement? There's so many pages that you need to explore and check from, because this guidance and toolkit is, for me, is actually a technical guidance. You need to read word by word. So to understand more on the Bursa Malaysia Reporting Guide and Toolkits, envirofusion worldwide, and Berhad can help you to explore and guide you to understand in details, because based on our experience before that we have trained many public listed company and do the assessment on their reports, report, we realized that some of them doing the assessment report on year to year basis, but they didn't understand what is actually consumption. So no worries, we can help you to understand more and guide you for more details. But one of the uh, items that is important in sustainability implementation and reporting is actually how to identify the sustainability methods using the materiality metrics. So for the phase one, you need to identify the sustainability methods, and under this phase, you need to understand the company's distinctive operating context, identify key stakeholders, and understand their needs and expectations pertaining to sustainability-related impact, and then derive preliminary list of sustainability. And then continue with the second phase under the prioritization of material sustainability matters, apply the materiality concept, and undertake stakeholder engagement in prioritization, and disclose prioritized material systems metals in a manner which illustrate the relative importance of each material sensitive metal. So from here, as I can summarize that, or you need to identify your key stakeholder, but data need to appear properly like a mapping in the report. But for materiality assessment or materiality topic selection or identification, you need to map properly using materiality metric and publish it in the report. And then after you identify your materiality topics, then you under the phase three, you review and validate the process and the outcome. So the outcome is subject to the materiality assessment for validation and approval by the oversight or referring to the board members. And then you establish a review process for the materiality assessment process. And last, determine the frequency of undertaking of materiality assessment, either at least a yearly basis or can up to twice a year. So that is for guidance for public listed. How about the SMEs? Is there any guidance for them to prepare the report? Yes, actually in Malaysia, thanks to our government, they have our government through either through MITI or through CMM has providing the guidance for SME, either for manufacturing or for non-manufacturing. So for um, non-manufacturing, you can use this guidance, which is simplified ESG disclosure guide or SEDG, come out by the Capital Market of Malaysia or CMM. As you can see here, under this SEDG, it has the three pillars: environmental, social, and governance, quite similar to public listed. And under these three pillars, and under every pillars, it has five topics below that. So under the environment, you have the emissions, you have the energy, water, waste, and material. And for social, it has the human rights and labor standard, employee management, diversity, equity, and inclusion, occupational health and safety, and community engagement. And for the governance pillars, they have the governance structure, policy commitment, risk management, and reporting, anti-corruption, and customer privacy. And this is for IAC, which has been provided by the MITI, and it says that this can be used for manufacturing assembly. Because the concept for me, either you use IESG or SEDG, it can be used both, or you can refer to both reference IESC and also SEDG, because it just guidance. So it guidance because this guidance has been prepared based on taking consideration from series of reference such as framework, DCFD, such as GRI, Bursa Malaysia, and international requirements. So you can choose either to follow IESG or SEDG, unless it has been specified properly or directly by the local by the authorities to follow either IESG or SEDG. So uh, we have realized that and this document still hot in the market because just launched this year, National Sustainability Reporting Framework. So actually, the National Reporting Sustainability Framework is derived from IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standard, which issued by the International Sustainability Standard Board or IFRS. So why they come out with the or try to align with the IFRS? Because globally referring from following the IFRS performance. So basically to make it easy, IFRS has been divided into two: IFRS S1, IFRS S2. So the concept of IFRS is actually follow the concept of DCFD, which have four pillars: governance, risk management, strategy, metric, and targets. It's just been divided into two: S1 for ESG, excluding climate change, and for S2 only cover for climate change, and it replicate or representing DCFD aspect. So for National Accessibility Reporting Framework 2024, the implementation for now just cover for three groups. Group 1 for main market listed issuer with market capitalization of RM 2 billion and above. And group two main market listed issuer other than listed issuer in group one and group three for each market listed issuers and non-listed companies NLC with annual revenue of RM 2 billion. So it means that previously, as we can see, previously only public listed large main market and also ace market are required to prepare or produce a report. And from here, we can see that it has been extended toward the non-listed companies. It means that after this, I believe under the supply chain, it will go toward the SME to produce their sustainability reports. And also it come out with the assurance and the aim for reasonable assurance for scope one and scope two greenhouse emissions starting on 2027. So here is stress on the reasonable assurance. So after this, I will explain what is different between limited and reasonable assurance. So from here, from this figure, we can see that since starting from 2025, Group 1, which is a main market listed issuers under the Group 1, should digest and try to implement from 2025 until 2026. And after 2026, in 2027, they should full adopted the IFRS S1 and S2 and report the scope 3 greenhouse gas emission disclosure. And for your info that scope 1 and scope 2 for your supplier or vendors be used by the public listed as the scope 3 data for them. So that's why it's good for the SME to be ready and to gather the data to do the calculation prior to provide the data to your may be requested by your client coming from Malaysian or international market. And so this is the explanation for relief and exemption to facilitate adoption. Permissible to disclose information on only climate-related risks and opportunities in accordance with IFRS S2 and green permissible to focus climate-related disclosure specifically on principles business segment and permissible to not disclose scope 3 emission except for categories already required by respective regulators. So here you can see that group 1 are required to produce the report covering on S1 and S2 beginning in 1st January 2025 for group 2, 1st January 2026, group 3, 1st January 2026. The large non-listed company holding company report using other international standard and framework such as Global Reporting Initiative, GRI, and TCFD may be given exemption for reporting for 3 reporting periods. Because actually, for as I mentioned before, IFRS S2 is actually 100% follow the concept of TCF. So this is the what you need to disclose the identification of climate-related risks and opportunity, to disclose the determination of anticipated financial impact of the sustainability-related and climate-related risk or opportunity, climate-related scenario analysis, because previously, if you realize that uh, Bursa Malaysia previously just want the public listed as a main market or as market to align with the DCFT. And if we are looking here, it's not just alignment, but to adapt and choose so-called DCFT concept to provide and include inside your report. And also under this one, under specific climate related metrics, cover this climate related transition risk, climate related physical risk, and climate related opportunity. And also to measure the Scope 3 greenhouse gas emission and determination of scope of value change. And also under this new national sustainability reporting framework 2020-24, it requires the external assurance requirement. So previously, the use of external assurance was, but after this, it is mandatory to do the reasonable assurance on Scope 1 and Scope 2 greenhouse gas emission for Group 1 from annual reporting period beginning on or after 2027. So it means that previously it's been voluntary. Now, after this, it will be mandatory to do the external assurance for Scope 1, starting from Scope 1 and Scope 2, and will be extended to other topics like environment topics like waste management and so on, and also social and also cover. So we are talking about the IFRS 1, which are referring to the climate risk or related risk, which are referring to the 7 greenhouse gas emissions. So this greenhouse gas emission has been covered by the Kyoto Protocol. For now, has been covered by Kyoto Protocol, which are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbon, sulfur hexafluoride, and nitrogen 3-fluoride. So this is the 7 types of greenhouse gas that covered by the Kyoto Protocol, and need to remember that by 2050 we want to go for net zero covering for these 7 greenhouse gas, not only carbon dioxide, but the calculation are using carbon dioxide equivalent. For the external assurance for disclosures and reports, as I mentioned that sustainability report assurance is an evaluation of the sustainability information against a range of criteria and evaluation of underlying process used by the organization to gather and present its sustainability performance. So the range of assurance criteria may include standard and guideline. It means that when you prepare the report, so-called like you are saying that you are produce the report either in accordance with GRI or with reference to the GRI or SASB or TCFD. When you mention or mention in the report, then that standard of guidance can be part of the assurance process. Or you also can assure assure the most basic things which are coming from your data, coming from your KPI, coming from any information that is produced in the report. So please be make sure that everything that you disclose in the report is accurate and have the supporting evidence, because maybe it can be subject to the report. So why sustainability report assurance is important? Because it can increase the confidence in communicated sustainability information. Key benefit is improved confidence and trust in reported information, amplification of improvement opportunities for future reporting cycles, opportunity to be at the forefront in terms of reporting in accordance with the latest sustainability reporting guidelines and framework, improve brand value and reputation towards stakeholders, avoiding accusations of greenwashing or other washing, and also reducing legal risk by meeting up requirement of regulation, government, or stock exchange rules. So what to assure? There are two typical types of sustainability report assurance: verification of accuracy and reliability of the sustainability information, and verification against report standard or framework to evaluate the adherence of report information to this standard or guide. So the assurance can cover either partial of the report or select KPI, or cover for the whole sustainability report. So this is the example of the assurance scope, which can cover from assurance of the selected KPIs or assurance of specific report sections or assurance of whole report. So my suggestion is, if required by authority, then you should follow the requirement, the minimum requirement. Start with the minimum requirement, start with the data assurance and so on, and can extend up to the assure for the whole report component. So this the concept of assurance in the global. Currently, there are two mainstreaming assurance standards globally, which is ISAE 3000 and AA 1000. So for ISAE 3000, this standard underscores the importance of data quality, reporting procedures, control, and evidence gathering process. You can conduct either a limited assurance engagement or reasonable assurance engagement. What is the difference between limited assurance engagement or reasonable assurance engagement? Limited assurance engagement is actually you cover the assurance but not so little. When it comes to reasonable assurance engagement, the level of assurance is go deep and gather more information and data. And for your info, that if you for now, yes, previously Bursa mentioned that this assurance can be done by internal auditors, but if you see on the sustainability report that was produced by a listed company, if the assurance done by internal parties, then they didn't come out with the statement of assurance. And if you are using external parties to do the report assurance or data assurance, then they can provide you the statements of assurance. So which you can use that to attach with your yearly sustainability reports. So I think that's all from me for a general introduction, because this is very important for you to understand, and hopefully from this session you get some ideas and uh, understanding how to move forward, either coming from a public listed or SMEs. And hopefully that we from envirofusion worldwide Celebrate can help you to make it smoother and meeting your customer or lead or authority requirement. Thank you so much for listening, and I pass to uh, Miss Canidia for the question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fazli, for a very extensive insight on the sustainability topic. Okay, since you have covered a lot, I feel so overwhelmed tahu macam oh so many things to understand here. But can you explain macam for me kan for me or other things which is individual
Mhm,
ataupun a small business owner,
mhm.
but I am part of the apa tu nama dia trickle from the big companies,
Okay, supply
meaning I'm
chain.
supplying to the big companies. Moving
Okay.
forward, kan?
Mhm, mhm.
I have no idea how to start, how to do, since this is feels like something that macam never been done. So what is your advice to apa yang we need to look into our company first before we come to you to find other consultants lah.
My suggestion is to because if you realize in my slide, I'm showing the eco bodies, because eco bodies is actually self audit, so you can purchase and do your self audit. So from that, there are so many questions that you need to fulfill, and after that, then you realize that oh, this is because if you are referring to either Ecobodies or RBA or Sedex Meter, the conceptual is same, quite same. So, but if you using Ecobodies, it's easier for you to know what is the requirement that maybe your customer want, because when you conduct the EcoBuddies and then you realize that you need to do engagement process, engagement with your stakeholder, either internal stakeholder or external stakeholder, and then identify what is the topic, and then I I realized that the portion of the certification in EcoBuddies is very minimal, because they didn't want to see you have or not the certification, but they want to see the transparency in your company in managing the pillars of environment, in managing the pillars of social, and also in managing the pillars of governance.
I see, I see, I see.
Or either you can also explore, as mentioned for SMEs,
Mm.
can explore the IESG under MIPI,
Mm-mm.
or simplified ESG under the CMM, because as I can say that these two guidance is useful for a startup company to understand and explore more about the ESG in the first basis.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that explanation, Mr. Fazli. I think we end our webinar here for now. But for viewers, if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact Envirofusion. You can find us in our social media in LinkedIn or our website www.envirofusionworldwide.com. Okay, see you next time and thank you. Bye-bye.